I'm a photographer and I mainly focus on motorcycles and the love I have for motorcycles. You know, my very first bike that I built with my own two hands is now in the Harley Museum is just something unfathomable. I'd say I started taking photos at about 2002, 2003. It started out, I was more focused on jewelry and metalsmithing and art in a 3D sense. And it wasn't until my third year that my mom had got this film camera, and I kind of was like, hey, can I borrow that for this class? And I don't think she'd ever taken a photo with it. I kind of took it over and then fell in love with photography ever since. Graduated from Columbia about 2005. And then I just hit the road. And I didn't have a bike then, but I met a lot of different people that were like, hey, hop in the van, or I got this bike for you to ride. We're going to Mexico, we're going to Florida. And I would just kind of tag along and document their journeys. And I was using my camera as a tool to learn, essentially. So if there was something I enjoyed, I'd be able to put myself in a place where I could document a process. And then I would learn that process just through documenting it. So then that kind of turned into, okay, I've got this pile of parts and it's all I can afford because I was broke. And then just kind of sculpted this bike. And I took what I learned in the jewelry classes and the metalsmithing classes and kind of incorporated that into the bike I ride today. I got into motorcycles because my dad had always had motorcycles. He was into shovel heads mainly. And maybe that was what sparked my love for older Harley-Davidson. But I've always been into older things. Classic cars is kind of where I started, and then got into motorcycles. And it's always been interested in stuff from a different time period. The bike I ride the most is a '77 Ironhead, and like I said, I got that in crates. I didn't have a clue about how to fabricate anything or build anything. But you know, after I built that first bike from ground up by myself, and that was my goal. I didn't know how to weld. Everything that went into the bike, I did myself, and that was my goal. I didn't want any help from anybody. It was just a learning experience. The bikes that I choose to ride or that I'm into kind of stem from just growing up. And like I said, my dad had shovel heads. And photographically, I like to take a photo that's timeless. So I've always been into taking these photos that maybe it was an old car with a building or architecture that kind of fit the same time period. So I lean towards building a bike that fits a different time. If I were to take a picture of it, would kind of be timeless. Like you wouldn't quite know exactly when the picture was taken. When I graduated college, I was shooting for a lot of different publications, and over a few years of doing that, it was like a lot of running around. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it got hard. It got hard to get paid. So I started doing my own blog, and I was posting my day-to-day life. And now people could see what I did every day. And between building the bikes or riding the bikes or doing trips or whatever I was doing. So during that time, I wasn't making a penny, but people started following it, and I started getting a large following, and then some people at Harley started following it. My work kind of got seen a little bit more and more around the Harley Corporation, so to speak. And one guy that kind of been really helpful to me is Mike Lowney, and he's the one that kind of pushed me into having an exhibit at the Harley Museum, and that went great. It couldn't have went better, and was really stoked for that, and they put my bike in the museum. I feel like I'm a very fortunate person. Like, I've been able to just do what I love. It scares me to think like, well, this could end tomorrow, you know, like what do I do then, you know? But it's always just kind of worked, and I think if you keep a positive attitude and if you're a good person to other people, you get that back. I'm Josh Kurpius. Thanks for watching DKS. Yeah, I really appreciate it too.